and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all having a great day so far. I am really excited to be bringing you all my first knife review. I hope you enjoy it, find it interesting, and without further ado, let's get on with it. Today we're going to be talking about the Chris Reeve Small Sebenza 31. This is the older model in S35VN steel. The newer ones are coming in S45. This is an older S35. So we're going to structure this review into 5 main parts. We're going to be talking about my likes, super likes, the neutrals, what I don't like, and then my super dislikes. Before that, let's start with some talk about the specs and some size comparisons. So this knife is pretty small. It's coming in at just under 7 inches overall, 6.8 inches. Here it is up next to a ruler. So you can see coming in just under 7 inches. The blade length is right under 3, like 2.94 according to Blade HQ. I think that's right. Seems about right. Handle length is coming in at 3.94, so just under 4 inches. I'll measure it behind the edge. Okay. Not sure if you can see that, but it's coming in at, hold on, let me make sure I got it. Coming in at 0.024 behind the edge, which is not too bad. It's designed to be robust, so I get it. I'll take it. Handle thickness 0.39. The blade thickness is 0.13. Handles are made of titanium in this nice blasted finish that CRK does, not CRKT, CRK, and CRK does. 2 solid slabs of titanium. We got a frame lock, springy pocket clip, single thumb stud. This one is in the clip point, or drop point. They call it the drop point. I'll show you all a couple of size comparisons. So we have this. We'll pull out first some Swiss Armies. Here's the Cadet and the Pioneer next to the Small Sebenza. Open them all up. Looks like that. Try and line them up butt end to butt end. Next we have the CRJB Centros. This is one I modified, put the opening hole in it, extended this sharpening choil. You can see it's pretty well dwarfed by the Centros. Here they are, pivot to pivot, lined up on the butt end. Definitely a couple inches difference. Here's a Booz Blades Mini Smoke. Very close size range, very close in terms of overall length. They're really actually coming in almost identical. You're gonna get a little tiny edge in blade length on the Booz, but they're insanely close. It's kind of hard to tell. The camera's at a slight angle, but they're really nearly identical. Here's a Spyderco Delica. This one heavily modified. I put the choil there. I changed the blade shape. It's got a regrind and a custom clip, but it's still the same overall length, and these two are coming in right at the same length. Here's a Spyderco Dragonfly. Again, this one has a regrind and a sharpening choil, but same length as the regular Dragonfly, significantly smaller. Put it up next to the Protec Malibu. This one is the Blade Show exclusive version. and the reverse tanto blade. You can see it's not a massive size difference, but it's definitely substantial. In the hand, you really feel a pretty big difference. The Malibu is noticeably bigger. Here we've got a full-size booze smoke. This is the new version with those butt-to-butt. You can see full-size smoke is significantly bigger. Here's a TRM Atom. Significantly longer on the Atom. Definitely a lot bigger. Spyderco Paramilitary 2. This is the Smoky Mountain Knife Works exclusive. Way bigger. This really dwarfs the Small Sebenza. Hot chocolate. It's chili season. Put it up next to the Hinderer. This is a DLT non-flipper. Much smaller than the Hinderer. Definitely a significant difference. You can see it's significantly thinner. That's what the Hinderer looks like. CRK. And one more, we'll put it up next to a Koenig. This is the Koenig Arius. Carbon fiber, way bigger than the Small Sebenza. Significantly larger. Alright, there's some size comparisons out of the way. We got the stats done. Let's jump into what I like about this. So first, the blade. It cuts pretty well, despite being slightly on the chunky side. It's very robust. You can tell the blade is thick enough, especially for a small knife, to be really robust. And the grind is really nice. It's a hollow grind, a very deep one. So it comes down to a reasonable thickness while maintaining toughness, and it's gonna have a lot of sharpenability because it's a hollow grind. It goes in like this. You'll be able to sharpen up the blade without it getting overly thick, like, say, a flat grind might. Second, got the sharpening choil. Sharpening choil is done perfectly. It totally clears the plunge grind. You can see I've sharpened this to a nice mirror edge, and there's absolutely no change in bevel width down at the heel. Perfectly done sharpening choil. Third, we got the ergos. The ergonomics are very good, especially for such a small knife. The handle is super neutral, this kind of coffin, straight kind of shape. It just fits really well. Your fingers wrap around the flat bit, your thumb lands here on the jimping. This beveled portion sits right into the back of your hand, and it just locks into this grip really well. You got pinch grip, it's great, and in this grip, in the saber grip, the clip tucks just in to this space between your fingers, so it disappears, you barely feel it. Same in the pinch grip, you don't feel the clip at all. It feels really strong. I've used it in this grip a lot. This is great for cutting rope, stuff like that. Hammer grip, you do feel the clip a little bit. It kind of pokes into this bit of your hand, but even when you're bearing down, it's pretty minor. You don't feel the clip too much. Draw cut, reverse grip feels great, no hot spots. Reverse pinch, great. So the ergonomics are really, I'd say, a pretty solid win, especially for such a small knife. Fourth is going to be the sharpening. So this knife is so easy to sharpen. The blade shape is really minor. There are no big curves or anything to deal with as you're trying to sharpen it. With the sharpening choil, the grind, since it's hollow, you can sharpen it a bunch without the blade thickening up too much. And it's just easy. The steel sharpens up really well. It's well heat treated. CRK is doing a good job here. So great sharpening. Fifth, simplicity. This knife is dead simple in its construction and design. All the straight lines, the handle is just 2 slabs like that. All of this hardware takes the same kind of tool. It's a 3/56th Allen wrench, if I remember correctly. I don't know, it doesn't make too much of a difference because they actually include one in the box with all their knives, and that fits in every piece of hardware here. So dead simple to take apart in the design. I like that a lot. And you have a limited number of pieces to potentially lose or break. Next, aesthetics. I'm a big fan of the way this looks. I like the simple lines. I like the simple blade shape. The stonewash finish on the blade is really pretty, I think. Everything about it looks nice. The touches of blue are really cool on the backspacer thing there, the lanyard tube. It just looks really nice. It's understated, it's minimal. I think it's gorgeous. Next, the blade shape. I love the blade shape. You got a nice flat portion here, some belly, pokey tip, while still being nice and robust. So really nice for cutting things, for a push cut going through a box, but the tip isn't so high that you have to come up at a crazy angle to be able to get into taper stuff. You just come up kind of here, and you've got the tip engaging. So really good blade shape, super versatile. Next, the build quality is just, that's what CRK is known for, is their incredible tolerances and build quality, and it's definitely on display here. It is dead centered. It's smooth, there's no play. It falls shut when you depress the lock. The opening and closing is just glassy smooth. And you can tell everything about this is really tightly controlled. And last in the likes is the warranty and service. So another thing that CRK is known for is their stellar warranty. You can send it back at any time and get a spa service, have this reblasted. You can have them sharpen it, refinish the blade, put on different kind of thumb stud, replace any of these parts at any time. They do make you pay for it, but they'll do it for any knife forever. And they're super easy to get a hold of. They do it in a pretty reasonable amount of time most of the time. You can even get new blades for these. Really cool. So warranty and service is the last of my likes. Super likes. I've got one super like, and it's going to be the overall solidness and durability of this knife. With the Sebenza and really most CRKs, I haven't handled too many extensively. I had a large Inkosi briefly, but the ergonomics didn't work for my hand. But you could tell on that, and you can tell in this, that this knife is built to do just about anything and last forever. Blade stock, the handles, just everything is solid and feels great. This knife feels bomb-proof. Feels like a forever knife. You'd have it forever. Hot chocolate break. That's my super like, is the overall solidness, durability. Now we'll talk about the neutrals. So, clip placement. It's alright. It's pretty good. It leaves a bit sticking out of the pocket here. As you can see, you're going to have a good ½ inch or so sticking out of the pocket. It is pretty well rounded. There's nothing too sharp or too offensive on this end. So it's not a huge issue. Would I mind if it was a deeper carry? No, but this is really alright. Pretty neutral on it. Next is the steel, S35VN. The new ones are in S45, which is definitely a bit of an upgrade. I'd be happier with S45. S35, it's a solid steel, no complaints. Could it be fancier? Sure, but that's really good all-purpose, all-around steel. I'm kind of neutral on it. Third, it's small. I'm lately gravitating towards bigger knives, so that's becoming kind of a dislike for me, is how small it is. But the great thing about the Sebenza is there's a large one, so I can't really dislike that too much. I got this knife knowing how small it was. Fourth, it's a little bit thick behind the edge. It's not like a super skinny slicer, but that's not what it's meant to be. And really, I can't complain too much. It is what it is. It's pretty solid for overall cutting, general use, being tough. So I'm really neutral on the thickness. And then fourth, it's hard to flick. So I can get the flick sometimes, but a lot of times that ends up happening. Because just the thumb stud is so, it has just no traction, and it's so pokey. It's hard to get that flick, and the action is very stiff. Some people might be able to get that more easily than I can, but I cannot. Alright, dislikes. First, the clip ergos. Despite being pretty good in most positions, it does get a little bit pokey sometimes, especially in a hammer grip where you're really squeezing. Just the bill here is a little higher than I feel it needs to be. This could be lower, and I wouldn't have any complaints at all. Next, it's expensive. I'm kind of on the fence about whether I really dislike this or whether I'm neutral on it, because you kind of pay for what you get. There's an extreme level of quality and service here and history behind CRK. So I don't know if I mind the price too much. It's $375. This one is new. Could it be less? Sure. Would I be happy if it was less? Sure. But I still like it. I bought it. I'd still recommend it. And then my third dislike is with the new 31. The old 21 had just plain a carbidized titanium lock face interacting with the tang of the blade, so it was carbidized titanium on steel. For this 31, they've added a ceramic ball, which I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see it. Right there, it's white. It's right in the middle of the lock bar, contacting the tang. There it is. You see that? So that's ceramic ball. That is the detent, and it's the lock interface, which gives it this interesting quality of when you open it, it doesn't do a kind of double clutch kind of thing. I don't know how to describe it, but where you get to here and the detent ball falls off the tang. It doesn't do that. It goes straight from the detent ball interacting with the tang to lockup. There's no stop in between, and it feels incredibly solid and makes this nice sound, this nice clicky sound. Let you hear that. But the downside to that is if you take the blade and really rock it back and forth, you can get just a little bit of lock rock from that ball, and it's a known issue. CRK knows about it. I'm not sure if they've improved that in newer models. I know they were trying to. I'm pretty sure. And it really, it doesn't like do anything, but it's a little annoying to know that it's there. It's not going to cause any lockup issues. It's just a rocking you can feel up and down. And it's very minor, and you have to really wrench on it, but it is there. It's lock rock. So there's something I dislike. And then super dislikes, I've got two of them. First is the thumb stud. Why? Give us a new thumb stud. First, it's single-sided, which, why? Second, it's just sharp and pokey and hard to use. It's decent for rolling, but it's so slippery and small that for flicking, you just have no grip. So this thumb stud, you can see it looks like a volcano. It's just the pokiest little bastard in the world. Something that I think I wish CRK would change. The thumb stud. I know you can get a double lug and you can replace them with different studs, but if you want to void your warranty, I mean, that voids your warranty. You take the stud out and your warranty's gone. You decide if it's worth it. I was definitely tempted to do that, but I decided I wanted to end up selling this. So I haven't changed the thumb stud out. I'm sure that would improve it a lot, but something I feel like I shouldn't have to do, especially with a knife that's this pricey. And then my last super dislike is that there's a potential for pinch washers as you're disassembling this and putting it back together. So when you take this apart, in the pivot, there's a bushing, and the bushing is a piece that sits inside of the washer, like the washer goes around the bushing, and the bushing holds the handle scales at a specific width apart, so they don't put much pressure on the washers, and that's what allows it to be so smooth like that. Just drop shut when you release the lock bar, is because all the pressure is onto that bushing and it's not on the washers, and the washers are just the perfect thickness to take up the space that the bushing leaves them. I'll try and throw up some pictures to make this make sense. I know it definitely sounds confusing. I did not explain that well. But when you're putting it together, if you don't get the washers just perfectly set around the bushing, then when you go to crank it down and tighten it, the bushing can pinch the washer and deform it and twist it. And at that point, you have to get new washers. There's no way around it. And this knife actually came to me. I got it used, and it came with a pinched washer on one side, and it threw off the blade centering, and it threw off the action. That was a big disappointment for sure, and it can happen surprisingly easily. I've taken this apart and put it back together a few times and been really paranoid about pinching the washers each time, just because it seems like such an easy thing to do. I don't know exactly how you'd make that easier. It's definitely, the Spyderco PM2 has a similar bushing system, but this one is way easier. There's no real chance of pinching your washers, or at least I think it'd be way harder to do. So maybe if they did it more like this, where there's a pivot barrel in the middle and each screw, the screw from each side connects to that barrel, and this allows you to lock one, to get the one side of the washer in place, put the pivot barrel over that washer, and then lock it down. And then you can just take the other washer and put it on top and put the handle scale on. With this one, the pivot is this screw, is the pivot. So there's no way to lock it down and get all the washers in place. It's significantly harder and more prone to pinched washers than the PM2. So that's my primary super dislike. I'm not big on the thumb stud. I don't like it. But the real one is the potential for pinched washers. All right, let's wrap this up, do a little summary, and end with my final thoughts. So first, I'll go back over, I'll list out all my likes. So first is the blade. It cuts well. I like the sharpening choil. I like the ergos, the sharpening. It's simple. I like the aesthetics. I like the blade shape. I like the build quality, and the warranty and service is excellent. My super like is the overall solidness and durability of the knife. It's bomb-proof, forever knife. My neutrals, clip placement, the steel. It's a little thick behind the edge. It is hard to flick. And those are my neutrals. What I don't like are the clip ergos. It's a little pokey sometimes. It's expensive. It's got just a little bit of lock rock. And then my super dislikes are the thumb stud. It's sharp and it's kind of hard to use. and then my real main one is the potential for pinched washers on disassembly. So overall, I like this knife a lot. Really, I'm planning to sell it quite soon, and the only reason I'm doing that is because it is quite small. I've been gravitating towards bigger knives, stuff around like PM2 or TRM Atom size, and you can see you put the CRK up between those, and it's a little bit dwarfed by both of them. So I've been leaning towards bigger knives lately, and so I think this one has to go. I've had it for a while, definitely enjoyed it, put a lot of snails on it, but it's time to move on. Who do I think this knife is for? Someone who needs a small knife that will last forever, that they can do just about anything with. CRKs are known for their toughness, warranty, solidity, and I think you could really do just about anything with this knife, within reason, and it would survive it. It's a great knife, it feels great in hand, it carries quite well. So anyone looking for a bomb-proof, smaller, forever knife that they can really do anything with, I think this is going to be a great go-to. Alright, and that does it. It's everything I like about the knife, everything I don't like, and everything I'm neutral on. I hope you have found this review interesting and informative, and don't forget to go and hit that like button, that subscribe button. I've got more of this coming in the future. Thank you all for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.